In the moonlit marshes and murky waters of Loveland, Ohio, a chilling legend resides. One that speaks of amphibious creatures with glowing eyes and webbed hands. Emerging from the depths of local lore into the realm of urban legend, these enigmatic beings have captured the curiosity and sparked the imaginations of those daring to venture into the realms of the unknown. From the whispered tales shared around campfires to the documented sightings etched into the annals of cryptozoology. We're going to embark on a quest through myth and time, peeling back the layers of legend to reveal the encounters and enduring fascinations surrounding Ohio's favorite cryptid. Let's traverse through the shadowy realms of folklore, eyewitness accounts, and speculative inquiry, and seek to shed light on the elusive truth. Welcome to the realm where myths leap to life and the mysteries of the night unfold behind the Loveland Frogmen. Hello everyone, and welcome to Wicked Encounters, where we explore just what goes bump in the night. I'm your host, Allie, and today we're going to take a trip to Ohio to learn more about the Loveland Frogmen. The Loveland Frogmen, or Loveland Lizard as they are sometimes called, are legendary creatures from Loveland, Ohio. Standing at about 4 feet tall with webbed feet and hands, a frog-like head, bulging eyes, and leather reptile or amphibian-like skin, the Loveland Frog has been spotted several times in the area that gives it its namesake. The beastie was first spotted in 1955 on the morning of May 25th. Some tales describe the witness as just being an unknown business or traveling salesman who was just driving through the area. Others say it was someone known as Mr. Robert Honeycutt, who had been driving home from work at 3:30 a.m. Now, me personally, I've never had a sales job that required me to stay so insanely late. Usually you want to be working when everybody is up so you can try and actually sell the thing. I did have one marketing job where I was still working that late, but I still don't think that's the norm. Is there anyone in sales or a self-described businessman who could let me know if that's literally what you have to be prepared to do as a worker in that department? Either way, while driving, he saw 3 bipedal grayish creatures with frog-like heads, causing him to stop and observe them as they seemingly spoke and conversed to each other under a bridge. This is where Honeycutt was very lucky that they weren't gray aliens, or his booty would have been a free-for-all. When in doubt, keep driving. Speaking of driving, after their conversation, one of the amphibian creatures held up what appeared to be a wand above its head, which sparked and glowed, frightening the witness enough that he finally got the fuck out of there. Now, while this is the first documented instance of the Loveland Frogmen being seen, it's not the most famous. That honor is reserved for their second sighting. On March 3rd, 1972, at around 1 a.m., police officer Ray Shockey was driving along Riverside Road heading towards Loveland. The road was icy, so Ray wasn't exactly going quickly along his way. Lucky, as it gave him the time to notice a creature run across the road before it crouched down along the side next to the guardrail. As he stopped his vehicle, the creature stood up on its 2 webbed feet. Shockey got as good a look of the creature as he could in the few seconds it stood there, staring in his direction. He described it as between 3 to 4 feet tall, weighing approximately 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery gray skin and features that resembled either a frog or a lizard. After those few seconds, the thing hopped over the guardrail towards the Little Miami River. Well, sure enough, that encounter was shocking enough to report in. So later on in the day, more officers went out to check the area, where it is said that they found some scratch marks on the guardrail. 2 weeks went by without further incident with the frogmen, the weather still being very cold, something people from the Northeast can all relate to when it comes to March. It's basically just a muddy winter. Too warm for enjoying snow, but too cold for anything to start blooming, so you're stuck with a bunch of muck and bare trees. During one of these cold, late-night drives, Officer Mark Matthew was on his way into Loveland when he saw what appeared to be an injured animal on the road. Matthew stopped his cruiser and climbed out to try and drag the carcass to the side of the road to avoid potential vehicle accidents or splattering for the cleanup crew later on. As he drew near, the dead animal proved to be very much alive as it lurched up and crouched over from where it had been laying. Taken by surprise by the form of the creature, Matthew unholstered his revolver and shot at it, while the frogmen hobbled and wobbled its way to the side of the road and stepped over the guardrail, keeping an eye on the trigger-happy officer while it fled.
"Damn, boy, he's sick!"
Matthew described the creature almost exactly as Shockey had, except his beast had a tail. Over 30 years later, Matthew had begun denying certain details in his encounter. He changed his explanation from being something akin to what Shockey had seen to one basically saying that it was simply a large reptile that must have escaped from its owner. When asked about why he shot at it then, he said it was to help Shockey seem like less of a nut from how he talked about his own encounter, which was being met with less than pleased looks and conversations with their superiors at the time. In an email interview in 2001, Matthew said that the story was blown way out of proportion, and that there was no monster frog, lizard, or other running around in Loveland, Ohio, and he left it at that. Sure enough, since 1972, there really hasn't been many Loveland Frogmen sightings. There was one involving a farmer having spotted one, but not a whole lot of details were given in that instance. The most recent and interesting interaction involving the cryptid is one from mid-August 2016, involving two teenagers out playing Pokemon Go in Cincinnati. Fortunately, these two didn't witness a crime in progress or a dead body, unlike most of the Pokemon Go players who made the news, but they claimed to have seen a frogman and even snap a photo of it. Now this is, well, it's an interesting photo, but doesn't look anything like what the two officers or Honeycutt described as having seen. It honestly looks like a lawn decoration with light bulbs on top, as some people believe it to be. So take this most recent encounter with a grain of salt. The teenagers swear that it's real, but, well, most people say that, unfortunately. That's why we have so many hoaxes. But if not large bipedal frogs or lizard variants, what could they be? Well, some believe that the creatures could be an alien race rather than an escaped pet iguana or monitor lizard. After all, with how cold it was, the chances of the lizard surviving late into the night isn't that high. It's true that roads soak up warmth from the sun during the day, so on summer nights, if you're in snake-infested areas, you may want to watch where you're stepping when you're on the road. But with temperatures being so low, ice was freezing on them, it wouldn't exactly be a great spot for a lizard looking to keep alive and warm to stay in. Even if they did, and ignoring the fact that big lizards aren't bipedal, they most likely wouldn't have the strength to jump up over a guardrail to escape some officers, especially one shooting at them. Surprisingly, there also is no Native American lore when it comes to the frogmen, so if by some happenstance they are real, then they would be a very new creature to the area. But to be honest, I have no clue what these oddball big boy amphibians could be. They've only been spotted at night, very late at night, and it is true that the mind and eyes can play tricks on you when you're tired. But to imagine a large frog having a meetup with a wand or crossing the road or wobbling about scaring me to the point I shoot at it after supposedly taking at least, hopefully, a month of trigger discipline? I don't know. But the stories have been popular enough that in 2023, the Loveland Frog became the city's mascot, dressed up as a frog prince and taking part in the festivities during the city's annual Hearts Afire weekend celebration and other fun city events. Though being a frog prince without a wand, does that really count as being one of the cryptids, or just a frog? What do you think the Loveland Frogmen could be? Could they have been just a large escaped pet? Maybe a deer from behind looking all weird for some people's lack of sleep? Have you or someone you know ever seen them? Let me know in the comments. I read them all for future video ideas and to see how many other people enjoy learning about spooky stuff like myself. If you want to see what I release in the future, consider subscribing, liking this video, clicking the bell, and sharing it with others. Many of my videos are thanks to suggestions given to me, so feel free to let me know what you'd like to see covered next. If you'd like to support me in other ways, consider checking out my Patreon. Speaking of, I'd like to give a big thank you to all my patrons. You guys rock, and I'm so thankful to have your support. With that, I'm Allie, this is Wicked Encounters, and I'll see you next time. Bye!